Some people walk into a five-star hotel and lose their entire mind at the front desk. And I mean completely. We're talking about a guest who asked staff to reschedule a thunderstorm, a man who demanded his cash be washed because it felt emotionally dirty, and a woman who wanted the curtains opened each morning at the pace of her emotional readiness. These are 49 real, jaw-dropping, absolutely unhinged requests that left trained luxury staff standing there speechless, blinking, questioning their career choices. And it gets weirder with every single one. Stick around, because number 49 is so shameless it should be illegal. And hey, this channel is brand new, so if you want more videos like this, smash that hype button below to help us reach more people. Let's get into it. 1. So a guest actually asked the front desk to lower the ocean because the waves were too loud. And, my favorite part, clearly a management decision. Sir, the ocean. The one that's been running since before your family tree had branches. You think there's a guy in the back with a volume knob labeled Atlantic. Somewhere a poor receptionist had to keep a straight face while explaining that the sea does not in fact report to the general manager. And the sheer confidence of blaming management for the tide. Not physics, not the moon. Management. Honestly, I respect the audacity, because that is a man who has never once been told no, and it clearly shows. 2. One man demanded room service, bring him a single grape, then complained it was too round. A grape. Round. Stop the presses. Next, he'll be furious that water is wet and the sun is bright. Somebody in that kitchen selected one grape, placed it on a plate probably worth more than the grape, walked it up several floors, and got told it was too spherical. What was he expecting? A cube? A grape shaped like his own disappointment? I love imagining the chef receiving that feedback and just quietly reconsidering every decision that led to this career. The man wanted fruit and got existential. Truly, some people will find a problem inside a grape. 3. A guest asked housekeeping to remove the moon from her balcony view because it was spying on her. Ma'am, the moon has been up there for 4.5 billion years, and not once has it filed a report on anyone. It's a rock. A big, romantic, tide-pulling rock with zero interest in your balcony activities. But imagine being housekeeping and getting handed that request. What's the plan? A ladder? A very long broom? A stern letter to space? And spying on her, as if the moon looked across all of human history and decided you specifically were worth watching. The confidence is astonishing. The moon has seen empires fall. It is not watching you eat crisps. 4. Someone called down asking for the Wi-Fi password to be changed to something more spiritually aligned. My guy, it's a router in a cupboard, not a crystal. The Wi-Fi does not have a chakra. Whatever cosmic energy you think is being blocked by the password Hotel 2026, I promise you it is not. And picture the IT person receiving this. They fix printers. They reset passwords. Now they're being asked to align a broadband connection with the universe. What did he want? Namaste 123? Inner Peace 5G? The internet worked exactly the same either way. But sure, let's pretend the download speed improves once the soul is at rest. Some people bring their whole personality to a login screen, and it's genuinely a lot. 5. A man requested that the elevator skip the boring floors. Sir, they're floors. They don't have arcs. Floor 3 is not less compelling than floor 7. They are identical rectangles stacked on top of each other. And which ones offended him? Did he do research? Was there a spreadsheet ranking floors by charisma? Imagine the poor staff member trying to explain that an elevator services all floors by design, and this man looking genuinely let down that his vertical journey lacked narrative tension. He wanted an elevator with taste, a lift that curates. Buddy, it goes up, it goes down. That's the entire personality. Not everything in life needs to be exciting, least of all the ride to your room. 6. One guest wanted the pool water warmed to exactly body temperature so he wouldn't notice the transition. So he wanted a pool he couldn't feel. That's not swimming, that's just being wet and confused in a large soup of your own temperature. The entire point of a pool is the little gasp when you get in. That's the fun. This man looked at a joyful human experience and said, "Remove the sensation, please." And exactly body temperature. So a maintenance guy is now standing there with a thermometer, trying to hit 37 degrees precisely for a grown man who wants to enter water and be told nothing happened. Congratulations, you've invented the world's largest indifferent bath. 7. A woman asked the concierge to teach her parrot to order breakfast so she could sleep in. First of all, the ambition. She's not asking for a wake-up call, she's outsourcing her entire morning to a bird. And she wants the concierge, a human with a job, to become a parrot tutor. Picture that lesson. Okay, repeat after me. 2 eggs, scrambled. The parrot says a swear word it learned from her ex. Breakfast arrives as chaos. And even if it worked, imagine room service getting a call that's just a bird screaming toast down the phone. Honestly, this is the most functional relationship on this list, because at least the parrot has a job. 8. A guest demanded a refund because the sunrise started late. The sunrise? Late? According to what schedule, sir? Did the sun sign a contract? Was there a service-level agreement with the actual sun that it breached? The Earth has been spinning on time for billions of years, and this man is filing a complaint because Dawn didn't respect his itinerary, and demanding it from the hotel, as if reception controls celestial mechanics and just decided to hold the sunrise back to spite him. I'd love to see that conversation. I'm sorry the planet's rotation inconvenienced you. Here's 50 pounds off. Some people see nature running slightly behind their expectations and decide someone owes them money. 9. A guest wanted the hallway carpet changed because it clashed with his personality. The hallway, not his room, the shared corridor that hundreds of people walk down. He wanted it redecorated to match him specifically. And what personality clashes with carpet? What is he, a swatch? Imagine having such a strong sense of self that industrial flooring feels like a personal insult. Somebody chose that carpet to hide stains and survive luggage wheels, and this man took it as an attack on his very soul. The audacity to walk down a corridor, feel judged by beige, and report it to the front desk. Sir, the carpet has no opinion of you. Frankly, after this, neither do I. 10. Someone asked the concierge to find out if seagulls have a manager. Now this I almost respect. Because if you've ever had a chip stolen by a seagull, yes, you do want to escalate. You want to speak to someone. But there is no manager. There is no complaints department for gulls. They answer to no one, they fear nothing, they operate entirely outside the law. And the concierge, whose job is knowing things, now has to admit the terrible truth. The seagulls are in charge, actually. They own the seafront. We just live there. So no, sir, they don't have a manager. They are the management. 11. A man requested a wake-up call every 7 minutes to feel productive. 7 minutes, not to actually wake up, just to be interrupted repeatedly so his brain believes something is happening. This is a man who has confused exhaustion with achievement. And imagine being on the front desk phones, dialing this lunatic's room every 7 minutes all night, like a haunted alarm clock. Good morning, sir. Good morning again, sir. Still morning, sir. He gets no rest, learns nothing, accomplishes nothing, but boy does he feel busy. That's the modern condition in one request, isn't it? Not resting, not working, just being disturbed on a schedule and calling it a lifestyle. Sir, that's not productivity, that's just self-inflicted torture with a receptionist. 12. A guest asked for the thread count of the bathrobe, then requested a different robe with more emotional support. Right. So first he interrogates the robe like it's a job interview. Thread count, please. And then, unsatisfied, he asks for one with emotional support. Sir, it's toweling. It has no feelings for you. It cannot hold you through the hard times. It absorbs water. That is the full extent of the relationship. What did he want? A robe that whispers you're doing great? A dressing gown with a counseling qualification? Somewhere, a housekeeper is holding 2 identical robes trying to work out which one radiates more warmth of spirit. They're the same robe. One of them just caught you on a needy day. 13. One woman wanted the hotel to reschedule the thunderstorm outside. Reschedule. As if the weather is a dentist appointment. As if there's a form. She looked at a massive atmospheric event powered by unimaginable natural forces and thought, this is inconvenient. Let's move it to Thursday. And who does she expect to action this? The receptionist? Does he have this guy's number? Is there a manager of clouds taking bookings? The sheer belief that a hotel, a building, has any authority over the heavens is genuinely magnificent. Ma'am, we cannot move the storm. We can barely move the breakfast to 9. The thunder does not check the calendar. The thunder does what it wants. 14. A guest demanded the chef guard the last waffle at the breakfast buffet with his life. With his life. He wanted a trained culinary professional to lay down his existence for a waffle. And honestly, part of me understands. Because a good waffle is worth defending, but you cannot ask another man to die for it. That's between you and the waffle. Imagine the chef receiving this order. Sir, I have a family. I don't care. Protect the waffle. So now there's a man in an apron standing over a single waffle like a knight guarding a relic, fending off other guests with a spatula. The dedication required is insane. It's breakfast, sir. There are more waffles. There are always more waffles. 15. Someone asked if the valet could pretend the guest owned a nicer car in front of his coworkers. So this man's whole plan hinged on a stranger acting. He needed the valet to perform, to sell the lie. Ah, yes, sir. Your magnificent vehicle. While gesturing at a car the man does not own. The insecurity it takes to organize a theater production in a car park just to impress people from work is genuinely tragic and hilarious. And the valet, who is paid to park cars, is now a supporting actor in this man's elaborate self-esteem crisis. Buddy, if your coworkers respect you based on your car, they're not your friends, they're your appraisers. Get better coworkers, not a better lie. 16. A man requested that the room temperature match the vibe of 1987. What temperature is a vibe, sir? What number on the thermostat says, Reagan is president and everyone's shoulder pads are enormous? How does a maintenance worker calibrate the air conditioning to a decade? Bit warmer, we've lost the 80s. Ah, there it is. That's the Cold War tension you were after. Nostalgia is not a temperature. You cannot heat a room into the past. And yet I do understand the impulse, because 1987 probably did feel warmer, mostly because he was young and his knees worked. But that's not the AC, sir. That's just you missing being 20. No thermostat fixes that. 17. A guest asked housekeeping to leave the room messier because it felt more lived in. So the one job housekeeping has, making it clean, this man wants reversed. He wants them to come in and ruin it. Sprinkle some chaos. Throw a towel on the floor artistically. Leave the bed slightly regretful. Do people not understand this is a hotel? The entire luxury is that someone else tidies up. He's paying premium rates for a service and asking them to unperform it. Imagine a housekeeper being instructed to make a room worse, standing there flinging pillows around, trying to achieve authentic mess. Sir, if you want lived in, go home. Your house is already exactly the disaster you're nostalgic for. 18. One woman requested that the fire alarm, if it ever went off, do so in a more encouraging and supportive tone. So during an actual fire, she wants gentle affirmation, not urgency. Not get out, she wants a soft voice going, hey, no pressure, but maybe consider leaving? You're doing amazing. Ma'am, the whole point of a fire alarm is to be deeply, aggressively unpleasant so your lizard brain runs for the exit. If it's supportive, you'll stay in bed feeling validated while the building becomes a bonfire. This is peak. I refuse to be alarmed by alarming things. Some things in life are allowed to be harsh. The fire alarm is one of them. The fire, notably, will not be encouraging either. 19. A guest wanted the TV to only show channels where people are winning, not specific channels. Not sports, not a genre, just a curated stream of human victory at all times. He wanted to lie in bed and watch strangers succeed, forever, with no losing permitted. And I get it, the news is a nightmare, but you cannot filter reality into pure triumph. Somebody wins, somebody loses, that's the deal. Imagine the front desk trying to build him a personalized channel of non-stop winning. Here's a man getting a promotion. Here's a dog catching a ball. Here's a toddler walking for the first time. Sir, that's not a TV package. That's just avoiding your own life through other people's good days. 20. Someone asked the concierge to book a table at a restaurant that doesn't exist yet but should. So the concierge, whose job is booking real places, has been handed a philosophy assignment. A restaurant that doesn't exist. He wants a reservation in the future. Add an idea. Where does he even call? Does he ring the void? Hi, yes, table for two at the place I imagined. And, but should. As if the concierge is now responsible for founding an entire restaurant to satisfy a whim. Sir, that's not a booking. That's a business plan. Get investors, get a chef, come back in 2 years. Until then, the concierge can only book restaurants that have the basic courtesy to actually be real. 21. A man demanded the hotel remove one specific cloud blocking his selfie lighting. One cloud. He identified it. He singled it out. Of all the clouds in the sky, this one was personally ruining his content. And he brought this to the hotel, as though reception keeps a long pole for exactly this purpose. Sir, we cannot move clouds. Nobody can move clouds. The cloud will drift off in 4 minutes entirely on its own, ignoring you completely, which is the correct response. Imagine the entitlement of looking up at the sky, seeing weather, and treating it as a lighting crew that showed up late. The cloud isn't blocking your photo, sir. The cloud is saving the internet from another one. 22. A guest requested bottled water from a lake he personally approves of. So tap water, rejected. Normal bottled water, not good enough. He needs water sourced from a lake that has passed his personal vetting process. What are the criteria? Does the lake interview well? Does it have good vibes? Imagine the concierge presenting bottles like a sommelier. This one's from a lake in the mountains. No, I don't trust its energy. Sir, it's water. It has been evaporating and raining down since the dinosaurs. You've already drunk water that a Tyrannosaurus Rex once stood in. The lake does not need your approval, and frankly, given how you're behaving, it wouldn't want it anyway. 23. One woman asked staff to hide all the clocks so time couldn't find her, as if time is a person going door to door. As if by removing the clocks, she becomes invisible to the passage of hours and simply stops aging in a hotel room. Ma'am, time does not need a clock to find you. Time is not looking at the wall. Time is already inside you, quietly doing its thing to your knees and your face, regardless of whether you can see a number. Hiding the clocks doesn't pause it. It just means you're now late for everything and confused about lunch. The clocks weren't the problem. The clocks were just the messenger. Time always finds you. 24. A guest wanted his steak cooked medium, but emotionally rare. What does the chef do with that? Where's the emotion setting on a grill? Medium, he understands. Emotionally rare is a cry for help, disguised as a food order. This man walked into a restaurant and ordered his own inner turmoil. Well done on the outside, still hurting in the middle. Honestly, it's the most poetic thing on this list, and also completely useless to the kitchen. Imagine the chef staring at the ticket, then at the steak, then quietly deciding to just cook it medium and hope the man works through whatever this is. Sir, the steak cannot carry your feelings. That's what the waiter's tip is for. 25. Someone requested a butler whose only job was to say, "Great idea," after everything he said. So he didn't want a butler, he wanted a human echo of his own ego. A professional yes man. Someone paid to validate every thought that tumbles out of his mouth, no matter how stupid. I'm going to have crisps for dinner. Great idea, sir. I texted my ex. Great idea, sir. This is a man who has never once been questioned and has decided that's a service worth booking. And honestly, it explains every other request on this list. This is what happens when nobody ever tells you no. You end up hiring the silence. Get a real friend, sir. They're cheaper and occasionally correct. 26. A man demanded a room key card that only opens doors leading to good news. A magic key. A key that filters reality. He wants technology that reads the future and locks him out of anything disappointing. Sir, that's not a key card, that's a wish. Doors don't know what's behind them. The door to your room doesn't know if there's a spider in there. The concept of a hotel selectively protecting you from bad news is genuinely beautiful and completely impossible. And imagine the burden. A key that only opens good doors means most doors just won't open. Because most of life is neutral news and mild inconvenience. You'd be locked out of your own room, sir, permanently. for your own protection. 27. A guest requested a spa massage from someone who's had a worse day, so she'd feel better by comparison. So she didn't want relaxation, she wanted a misery contest she was guaranteed to win. She wanted to lie there being needed by someone visibly suffering, so her own problems shrank. Ma'am, that's not wellness. That's emotional vampirism with essential oils. Imagine the poor masseuse being selected specifically for having the worst possible day. Bring me your most tragic employee. And the whole time she's smugly relaxing on the back of somebody else's terrible morning. Feeling better by comparison isn't healing, it's just a slightly nicer way of enjoying that others have it worse. The spa is for stress, ma'am, not for competitive sadness. 28. One woman asked that the curtains open each morning at the pace of her emotional readiness. So housekeeping now needs to be a mind reader with a stopwatch, slowly parting the curtains millimeter by millimeter, in sync with her feelings about the day. And how do they measure her emotional readiness? Do they check her aura, wait for a signal, stand there for 40 minutes as the room brightens at the speed of her acceptance of Tuesday? Ma'am, the curtains open in one motion. That's the design. The sun does not negotiate. And honestly, some mornings the emotional readiness never arrives. And then what? You live in darkness forever? At some point the light comes in, whether you've processed it or not. 29. A guest insisted on checking in under a fake name he planned to reveal dramatically later. So the whole point of the fake name was the reveal. He wasn't hiding, he was building suspense. He checked in as someone else purely, so that at some future moment he could gasp, "It was me all along." Sir, nobody is watching. The receptionist does not care what your name is. There is no audience for this twist. You've written yourself into a thriller that only exists in your head, where the dramatic unmasking lands and everyone gasps. In reality, you'll approach the desk, say, "Actually, my real name is," and they'll go, "Okay," and hand you a spare towel. The drama, sir, is entirely internal. 30. Someone asked staff to remove all the vowels from the breakfast menu for privacy. For privacy. As if the letters A, E, I, O, and U were leaking his personal information. As if scrambled eggs written without vowels, scrambled GGS, protects him from something. From whom? Who's reading his breakfast order and using it against him? And how is the waiter supposed to take an order off a menu that now reads like a keyboard malfunction? I'll have the pancakes, I think? Sir, privacy is a real and important thing, and this is not it. Nobody is surveilling your toast. The vowels weren't spying on you. Removing them just means nobody, including you, can read the menu anymore. 31. A man asked the concierge to help him locate his motivation. Last seen sometime in 2019. Now I feel this one in my soul. But sir, the concierge is not a search party for your ambition. He books taxis. He cannot recover the version of you that used to have goals. And last seen in 2019 is genuinely tragic because we all know exactly what happened next, don't we? The world went a bit sideways, and a lot of people's drive quietly left the building. But you can't file a missing report at the front desk. Your motivation isn't lost in the hotel. It's not behind the sofa. It's just gone quiet, and honestly, the concierge probably lost his around the same time you did. 32. A guest requested slippers that don't make him feel shorter than he already is. So somewhere in this man's history, a pair of slippers made him feel small, and he never recovered. Sir, slippers are flat by design. They cannot lower you. You are not shrinking. You're just standing on the floor like everyone else. But imagine the housekeeper receiving this request, now hunting for confidence-boosting footwear, trying to find the one slipper that whispers, "You're tall, king." What did he want? Heels? A slipper with a lift? The insecurity to be personally wounded by complimentary hotel footwear is something else. The slippers aren't the problem, sir. Whatever happened to you, it wasn't the slippers, and no amount of foam is going to fix it. 33. One woman asked if the vending machine could make eye contact before dispensing her snacks. So she wanted a moment, a connection, a little acknowledgement from the machine before it gives her the crisps. Ma'am, the vending machine has no eyes. It has no soul. It is a metal box that trades chocolate for money and feels nothing. which honestly is the ideal relationship for buying snacks at midnight. No judgment, no small talk. But she wanted intimacy. She wanted the machine to see her. And now some poor staff member has to explain that the Coca-Cola dispenser cannot love her back. Nobody should get emotional validation from a device that occasionally eats your pound coin and keeps the crisps hostage on the spiral. 34. A guest demanded the hotel confirm in writing that his room had never been sad. In writing, he wanted documentation. A legal guarantee that no previous guest had ever wept, sighed, or felt a flicker of melancholy in that room. Sir, this is a hotel. Every room has absorbed decades of human emotion. People have been dumped in there, cried in there, watched terrible news in there. That room has seen things. There is no such thing as a room that's never been sad. There are only rooms that haven't told you yet. And imagine the manager being asked to sign an affidavit about the emotional history of a travel lodge. I hereby certify this room has known only joy. A lie, sir. A beautiful, unprovable lie. 35. Someone asked if housekeeping could fold the towels into animals that owe him money. So not swans. Not the classic elephant. He wanted the towels folded specifically into creatures that are financially in his debt. Which raises so many questions. Who borrowed money off this man? Was it a giraffe? A disappointing cousin shaped like a rabbit? He's carrying a grudge so heavy he wants it represented in bath linen. Imagine the housekeeper being briefed. Fold this one into the friend who never paid me back for the concert tickets. How do you even do that? What does betrayal look like in towel form? This man didn't want turn-down service. He wanted a soft, fluffy reminder of everyone who wronged him. 36. A man asked the laundry service to wash his cash because it felt emotionally dirty. Not physically dirty, emotionally. So this money has a past. It's been involved in something. And rather than reflect on how he earned it, he decided the solution was a spin cycle. Sir, you cannot launder guilt. Well, you can technically launder money, but this is not what that phrase means, and I'd stop saying it out loud in a hotel. The stain isn't on the notes, it's on your conscience, and bold 2-in-1 won't shift that. Imagine the laundry staff receiving a bag of banknotes with the instruction, "These have done bad things." That's not a laundry order, that's a confession. Ring a priest, not room service. 37. A guest requested a "Do Not Disturb" sign that also worked on his own intrusive thoughts. Okay, this one I actually respect, because wouldn't that be lovely? A little sign you hang on your brain. Currently closed. Please stop reminding me of that embarrassing thing from 2011. But sir, the front desk cannot help you here. The sign works on housekeeping, not on the 3 a.m. replay of every mistake you've ever made. If a laminated card could silence intrusive thoughts, nobody would ever leave a hotel. We'd all just check in forever. The tragedy is that the one door you can't put a sign on is the inside of your own head, and that door, unfortunately, does not lock. Therapy, sir, not turn-down service. 38. One woman asked a bellhop to carry her completely empty suitcase because it has potential. Potential. The suitcase hasn't done anything yet, but it might. So the bellhop is now straining under the weight of nothing, hauling an empty case up to the room because of what it could one day become. Ma'am, that's not luggage, that's a motivational speaker with a handle. And imagine the bellhop's confusion, lifting a bag that weighs less than his own shoes, being told to treat it with respect because of its bright future. We've all got potential, love. The suitcase isn't special, but sure, let's carry the empty thing with dignity. Because apparently in this hotel, even the luggage is on a journey of self-discovery. 39. A guest requested that the entire staff pretend it was his birthday. Every single day, forever. Every day, forever. He wanted to live inside a permanent birthday, cake and songs, and forced enthusiasm on an infinite loop. Sir, that's not a celebration. That's a hostage situation for the staff. Imagine being an employee singing happy birthday to the same man for the 400th consecutive morning, dead behind the eyes, wondering where your life went. And birthdays are only special because they're rare. That's the whole mechanism. Make it daily, and it becomes a chore, then a threat. He'd be miserable by day 9. The candles lose meaning. The cake becomes routine. You cannot bottle being celebrated, sir. The moment you demand it forever, it stops being a gift. 40. A man asked the front desk to call his mom and tell her he was eating vegetables. So this grown adult checked into a hotel, needed staff to phone his mother and lie on his behalf about his greens. And the beautiful thing is, he clearly wasn't eating vegetables, otherwise why outsource the call? He wanted the front desk to be his accomplice in a decades-old performance for his mom. Imagine the receptionist dialing a stranger's mother. "Hello, madam. Your son wanted me to confirm he's had his broccoli." She won't believe it. Mothers never believe it. She'll know instantly. But there's something oddly sweet about a man who, no matter how old, still wants his mom to think he's doing okay. Ring her yourself though, sir. 41. A guest requested the hotel gym be emptied so no one could witness his cardio shame. So he wanted the entire gym cleared out, every other paying guest evicted, so he could jog in private without an audience. Sir, nobody in a gym is watching you. Everyone in there is far too busy panicking about their own reflection to clock your treadmill technique. That's the beautiful unspoken agreement of the gym. We all silently agree not to look at each other suffering. But he wanted guarantees, a private arena for his shame. Imagine staff politely asking a room full of people to leave so one man can do a light jog unobserved. The cardio shame isn't real, sir. Nobody's filming. Everyone's just trying to survive leg day. 42. One woman asked for room service to deliver ice, but colder than normal ice. Colder than normal ice. Ma'am, ice is already at its final form. That's the coldest water gets before it becomes a personality. There is no premium tier. There's no secret extra frozen ice they keep in the back for special guests. Imagine the kitchen receiving that order, staring at the ice machine, wondering how to overachieve at freezing. Should we freeze it again? Harder this time? It's the same temperature as all other ice, because that's how physics works, and no amount of demanding will drop it below the laws of thermodynamics. You want colder ice, ma'am? That's just ice with a superiority complex, and I'm afraid we don't stock it. 43. Someone requested that all the mirrors in the room be turned slightly to the left for confidence. Slightly to the left. There's a precise angle, apparently, at which a reflection stops being a threat and starts being a hype man. And who's calibrating this? Some poor housekeeper nudging mirrors degree by degree while the guest goes, left, left, too far, there. That's the confident one. Sir, the mirror shows the same face at every angle. Your reflection doesn't get more impressive with a bit of geometry. But honestly, if tilting a mirror is what gets you out the door in the morning feeling like a champion, who am I to judge? Everyone's got their thing. Yours just involves interior decorating for your own self-esteem. 44. A man asked staff to remove the number 4 from his room door because it felt judgmental. Judgmental. A number. A little metal digit screwed to a door, silently ruining his stay with its opinions. Sir, the 4 is not judging you. The 4 has no thoughts. It's a shape that tells you which room is yours, so you don't wander into a stranger's bathroom. But he felt watched by it, condemned by it, so it had to go. Imagine maintenance being called out to unscrew a number because it was being mean. And then his room has no number, and now he genuinely can't find it, wandering the corridor, judged instead by his own poor life choices. The 4 was never the problem, sir. 45. A guest wanted the minibar restocked with items that don't remind him of his ex. So somewhere in that little fridge lurked a specific snack, a particular tiny bottle that opened an emotional wound. And rather than just, not eating it, he wanted the whole minibar curated around his heartbreak. Imagine staff having to interview him. Does she remind you of the Toblerone, the tiny Pringles? The gin? Removing memories one overpriced item at a time. Sir, if a 4-pound packet of peanuts can send you spiraling, the minibar isn't your issue. She's not in the fridge. She's in your head, rent-free, and no restocking policy is going to evict her. Also, everything reminds you of your ex eventually. That's just called being dumped. 46. One man asked the bartender to mix a cocktail that tastes like being forgiven by his father. So the bartender, who trained to make an old-fashioned, is now being asked to distill decades of unresolved family tension into a single glass. Sir, they don't teach that at bar school. There is no garnish for closure. What does paternal forgiveness even taste like? Warm, slightly bitter, arriving 20 years too late? And imagine the bartender genuinely trying, sliding a drink over going, "I did my best, sir." He sips it. He weeps. It's just whiskey. It was always just going to be whiskey. Some things can't be poured, mate. Ring your dad. That conversation is free, and it fixes more than a $5's worth of bourbon ever will. 47. A woman requested that the air conditioning blow gentle compliments instead of cold air. So instead of a cool breeze, she wanted the vents to whisper, "You look lovely today," into the room. Ma'am, it's an air conditioning unit, not a supportive boyfriend. It moves air. It cannot flatter you. And imagine the engineering required. A machine that reads the room and offers tailored affirmations. Nice hair. Great posture. What happens when it's honest? Bit warm in here, and so are you. The AC's one job is temperature, and it does it without emotional labor, which frankly we should all respect. If you need compliments blown at you all day, the problem isn't the ventilation. It's that nobody's said anything nice to you lately. 48. Someone demanded a second pillow, then a third, then requested the staff build a fort professionally. Professionally, not a casual pillow pile, an engineered structure, built to standard, by trained adults. So a grown guest summoned housekeeping to construct a fortress out of bedding, presumably with proper load-bearing cushions and a strong entrance. And honestly, part of me is jealous, because when's the last time any of us built a fort? But the word professionally is what gets me. He wanted craftsmanship, quality assurance, a pillow fort with structural integrity you could actually defend. Imagine the housekeeper stepping back to admire their work, going, "She'll hold, sir. We spend our whole lives becoming serious adults, and this man just skipped all of it." Respect. 49. A guest asked the valet to pretend the guest owned a nicer car in front of his coworkers and, "No, we've done that one. Let's give you the real finale." A guest requested a butler, a fort, a fake name, and a permanent birthday, and honestly by now the staff had seen everything. So here's the last of the raw list. A man asked the front desk to confirm his room had never been sad, and having reached the end, all I can say is this hotel didn't have guests. It had a support group with room service. 49 requests, not one of them normal. And somewhere, a 5-star team clocked off, went home, and quietly reconsidered every career decision that led them here. And there we have it. 49 human beings who looked at a 5-star hotel and thought, "Yes, but can the moon stop watching me?" The audacity was free. The staff were not paid enough. If any of this made you laugh, snort, or question humanity, smash that like button. Subscribe to BrainFumble and ring that notification bell so you never miss the next batch of nonsense. Share it with that one friend who'd absolutely demand emotionally rare steak. Now tell me in the comments, which request was the most unhinged? And be honest, which one have you secretly considered yourself?